still really seems like the dream.
This is not the face of addiction. This is the face of an accident.
It must have just took him just like that. 5
people are dead after using fentanyl-laced cocaine. The DA says there is much more of it out there.
These folks died almost instantaneously. It's a frightening, frightening drug.
Plus, an unbearable cold has settled over Colorado, and tomorrow will be even worse.
It's dangerous for everybody.
And do you know what a cyclist is supposed to do at a stop sign? Well, the answer depends on where you live.
We have inconsistent laws from county to county on how to treat intersections.
Good evening, and thank you for watching Denver 7. I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. The big chill has arrived in Colorado, I'm afraid. Temperatures will hit single digits tonight. 10 degrees could be the high tomorrow, and we might not see the sun until Thursday.
And Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson is joining us. And Mike, in addition to the cold, we are getting snow as well.
That's true, and I want you to I thank you so much for sparing me those details going in. I didn't have to say it. The record book will show on this President's Day we hit 55 for the high in Denver, which is way above average, even 60s over southeast Colorado. But now the big story is the temperatures have fallen 40 degrees since early afternoon as the cold front has moved through. And look at northeast Colorado. It's 4 up at Sterling. You add the wind, it feels like 19 below zero on exposed skin at Sterling, and it feels below zero here in Denver, minus 13 at Akron. That cold front obviously has pushed south of us, an Arctic cold front. But look at the moisture coming in from the west. So it's a combination of Pacific air bringing moisture in for the mountains and Arctic air bringing cold air on the plains. Wind chill advisories in effect for eastern Colorado. A combination of winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories for the mountains. Till Thursday midday, some areas could see 3 feet of snow, especially in the San Juans. We are getting bands of snow developing now along the Front Range. This is a view currently up in Boulder. Snow is falling and the roads are going to get slick as temperatures tumble. So Denver becomes Denver for the next 3 days. Periods of light snow that could accumulate to several inches in the metro, several feet in the mountains. Below zero temperatures, especially Wednesday morning. And again, much heavier snow falls in the high country. Details on all of that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. And Mike, thank you. And this week promises to be a busy one for plumbers. Felipe Ramos with Plum Pros tells us they usually get about 50 calls a day. He expects tomorrow they could get hundreds.
So they could just completely be oblivious to it. They may not even know that they have an issue. So that's how the freezes happen. We just get caught off guard. We have a 65-degree day like we did yesterday, and they use the hose. They don't disconnect it or leave water exposed to the elements, and then it hits, and then they got a problem.
And we know, most of you probably know these already, but for the newcomers, we do have some tips for you. Let warm water just drip overnight, just lightly drip from a faucet that's on an outside wall. Unscrew the hose, like he said, and if the pipes do freeze anyway, a hairdryer or heating pad is your friend. If that doesn't work, put down the tools and call a pro.
Now, tonight's drive is looking okay, but again, tomorrow is not going to be pleasant. Traffic expert Jason Luber will be in bright and early to keep an eye on the roads for us tomorrow. You can also get alerts on the Denver 7 traffic app.
When police found the bodies of 5 people in a Commerce City home last night, they told us the public was not in danger. And although we do understand what they meant, the sentiment's not really true.
All 5 of those people are believed to have died because of tainted drugs. The district attorney says all 5 likely believed they were getting cocaine, and they received instead a lethal dose of fentanyl as well. And we know some might say that preventing this is as simple as just not doing drugs. Well, considering more than 1,600 people died from drug overdoses in Colorado last year, and that half of those involve fentanyl, we're going to say it's a little more complicated than just say no.
Denver 7 is committed to in-depth coverage of the opioid crisis. Russell Haythorne tonight leads us off.
Yeah, Shannon, and that crisis hitting one family particularly hard tonight. Of the 5 people who died in this apartment complex over the weekend, 3 of them are related. We have some video to show you from earlier today. Dan Marquez telling us that he lost his son, his daughter-in-law, and his son-in-law in that tragic fentanyl poisoning over the weekend. His son Sam was just 24 years old. The DA confirming today it was fentanyl. Dan says the group thought they were doing cocaine. What they got instead was a lethal dose of something much more powerful, much more dangerous, and pervasive in our community.
Yeah, once in a while they go out and drink. Just, I guess, everybody does. And I guess Saturday night, man, they wanted to party some more, so they got some shit. And it's no good, man. Yeah. Don't do it.
Sam and Karina's baby was home at the time, discovered in a bedroom unharmed. She is with the family tonight, and they say that she is doing great. Also, police are still investigating where those drugs came from that were laced with fentanyl. Both Commerce City Police and the DA saying today that they will vigorously pursue charges against anyone involved in this case. We'll keep you posted. For now, we're live in Commerce City tonight. Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
What a heartbreak. Russell, thank you for that. The DEA lists fentanyl as being similar to morphine, but 100 times more potent. 1 kilogram is thought to possess the potential to kill 500,000 people. And as Denver 7's Patrick Perez explains, it's everywhere.
This scene last night looked like a homicide scene. These folks died almost instantaneously. It's a frightening, frightening drug.
District Attorney Brian Mason is sounding the alarm after a group of 5 people who thought they had cocaine accidentally overdosed on fentanyl in his jurisdiction this weekend.
Fentanyl is ravaging our community, and it is extraordinarily dangerous. It's lethal, and it's fast.
Law enforcement is finding the synthetic opioid in everything from cocaine to heroin and meth, and even marijuana.
No drug is safe right now to take. This is a public safety nightmare and a public safety crisis.
In 2021, drug overdose thefts involving fentanyl made up nearly half of all overdose thefts in the state, a growing number compared to years past.
You think you're taking one thing, and really you're taking one of the most powerful opiates out there.
Steve Carlton with Gallus Medical Detox says fentanyl is so pervasive, some people who enter his inpatient treatment facility don't even know they're hooked on it.
It's extraordinarily dangerous and scary.
Here, he says his staff can wean people off fentanyl in just 7 days and connect them with services to get them on their road to recovery.
Opiate detox, it is pretty predictable what's going to happen, and it's incredibly uncomfortable.
In Denver, you can now order fentanyl test strips from the Department of Public Health and Environment so you know exactly what you're putting in your system. But the tests aren't always accurate.
They change the chemical makeup of fentanyl very easily with their chemists, and so having strips or things to try to test something ahead of time may work today but may not work tomorrow.
The best way to prevent a deadly fentanyl overdose, he says, is just to not take street drugs at all.
A small amount can give you a high, a small amount can also kill you.
Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
Governor Polis called on the state legislature today to address the dangers of fentanyl. He said, while there is no guarantee that increased criminal penalties would have prevented this tragedy, we clearly need real consequences and harsher sentences, he says, for those involved with dealing or possessing enough fentanyl to kill people.
And Colorado stands to receive $385 million to combat the opioid epidemic as part of a settlement with Johnson & Johnson and other drug distributors. The funds will be paid over the course of several years. 60% will be paid on a regional approach, 20% will go straight to local governments, and 10% will be placed in a behavior health fund. Another 10% will be held by the AG's office for prevention and education.
And listen, before we move on, we realize that not everyone who uses drugs is an addict. We also know that for people who do need help, getting clean and staying clean rarely goes in a straight line. So if you or someone you know is ready to take that first step, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration's National Helpline is available to take your call whenever you're ready to make it. The number is 1-800-662-4357. And for information on ordering naloxone or fentanyl testing strips, just head over to thedenverchannel.com.
A 25-year-old man is expected to survive after being shot near a Sonic on East Colfax today. Aurora police say they are still working out the circumstances of the shooting, so anyone with information should, of course, call police.
A stop sign means stop, except when it doesn't. Inside the effort to change Colorado's confusing and potentially dangerous cycling laws.
Now I will tell you, I think this is an unsafe bill. I think there's a stop sign there for a reason. It means stop.
Plus, Whataburger is days away from opening in Colorado, and we have suggestions on what you should order.
I'll probably come at least once a week, if my bank account allows it to.
And we saw the sign. Seeing the auction it promoted proved to be a bit more challenging.